Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. So, yesterday we had an election, which saw a proposed ballot measure, Ohio Issue 2, being passed by 67% of Ohioan voters. You saw every county voting yes for the yes option for Issue 2, except for the counties of Claremont, Pickaway, and Coshocton. These are being one of the most conservative counties. So you could look at this and say, hey, look, this is very likely to be an election ballot measure to favor liberals. But I want to kind of look at this ballot measure to see if passed, because we definitely see a pattern. You're seeing liberal areas, especially Hamilton County, holding Cincinnati. You have Montgomery County. You have Columbus. You have Cuyahoga County, the most liberal counties, but some conservative counties too. You got Wood County being more for the yes than Lucas County, which is kind of interesting. But I want to know what this ballot measure was technically about. So this is checking Ohio 2 May 2025. My bad. So, an Ohio Issue 2, the local public infrastructure bond amendment was on the ballot. Yeah, we know that. A yes vote supported allowing the state to issue up to $2.5 billion in general obligation bonds, limited to $250 million per year over 10 years to assist local governments in funding public infrastructure improvement projects. A no vote opposed allowing the state to issue up to $2.5 billion in general obligation bonds, limited to $250 million per year over 10 years to assist local governments in funding public infrastructure improvement projects. So, does this one surprise me? Well, obviously, infrastructure has to be updated, right? Because what happens if infrastructure isn't updated? It goes bad, right? And that's unsafe. So infrastructure being like towers, buildings, bridges. Those are the public infrastructure. And I'm guessing that, hey, look, it's the state thinks it's time to rebuild, and it's time to basically increase the payments it's time to redo the infrastructure. And why vote no while this is going to have to be done anyway? You know, there are people that do support their tax dollars being taken, and they want their tax dollars being used willingly, and this is an example. Most people want their taxpayer dollars being funded and used to build better roads, better bridges, better buildings, making sure, and better, of course, roads, make safer roads too, making the roads wider, so there are less collisions on the road, less accidents. So that's probably what majority of people, not Ohioans, for sure Ohioans, but majority of people in general just support that. That's where expectation-wise is where your taxpayer dollars go to. Better infrastructure improvements. People that are saying no are most likely saying, I don't like the idea of my taxes going to being used regardless. And that does make sense. Those people tend to be more conservative and more of the rightward side. So it does make sense. But I would probably vote no, because I don't know what I would vote. I would probably vote no. I just want to, because I want to make sure I'm not getting myself into something I don't understand. Period. And I probably would go thinking, oh, the ballot measure is going to pass regardless. This is basically an issue sort of thing. So is this a win for the left? No, it's not. because there are a lot of left-wing liberals that don't like their taxpayer dollars, higher taxes, going to better infrastructure. Whatever reason why they oppose. So I think this is just I wouldn't say it's common sense versus not common sense, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm supporting the ballot measure, and I'm not. I really am neutral with this ballot measure, and when I'm neutral, you probably know that this ballot measure is not that political. It's just basically, and this ballot measure didn't really cover the news. The Louisiana ballot measure, which had very low turnout, was covered more than this ballot measure. That's because you got the left. The left made it political because they thought that Governor not Cassidy, he's a senator, but Governor Landry endorsing the ballot measure was political, and that if Landry votes for it, we must vote against it. And with on top of that, low turnout, the ballot measure failed, even though it would have helped black jobs. It would have helped the middle class. And if we were back in 10 years ago, this ballot measure would be supported by the left. For sure, guaranteed. But obviously, this ballot measure, not that political. I think Democrats and Republicans stepped aside and said, hey, look, we're going to let the people decide whether this ballot measure is going to pass or not. This does make sense why you have a lot of red counties going solid for this, because a lot of the people in these red counties, they say, hey, look, we do need the better roads, because especially if you live in the country, I live in the country, we always complain all the time. There's so many potholes, and it's just jarring. And it's like, someday they need to get this fixed. Well, it's not going to be fixed unless they do it with taxpayer dollars. That's what they're there for. So I would say, yeah, you gotta have to let them do it, do their job when it comes to that. And this isn't a left-wing, right-wing issue. We're gonna have to pay taxes. Taxes exist. There's no getting rid of taxes. And the question is, should we have lower taxes? Yes. And and people in general just want their taxes to be paid for by have the taxes being used on this infrastructure, and just leave it on that. Many people they're not a fan of these taxpayer dollars going to programs that they don't necessarily support, that they don't necessarily feel a cause for, that they don't necessarily want to support. So the left-wing activism, that's why a lot of conservatives are against it. Like, okay, you're wasting my money to a cause I'm not supporting, I don't want to support. So we understand better roads, better streets, but this has gone too far. But anyway, this ballot measure was prone to pass. They didn't really many people didn't have a good reason to vote against it. It was just the people that voted against it did not like their money going out. In general, they don't like the government taking their money. They're just doing it in opposition, and they're doing it in protest. I'm not condemning those people, because they're technically on our side on the political spectrum, but to me, and a lot of people in this channel may disagree or clash in the comments about it, but I guess it's like, why are you voting no on this? This is going to happen regardless. If you vote no on this, then it's just going to show up on the ballot next year or the year after that year. They're going to do this regardless. So anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below, and as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.